Well, you're really hot. Hello, g'day. I'm Ethan. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to episode one. I'm so happy that you chose to tune in. And this is how footy shaped into who I am. Footy's been my whole entire life, right? And I grew up with it, with always a footy in my hand. And yeah, it might sound like I was a little bit obsessive, but I absolutely loved it. I never thought a second of it. I always wanted to be that AFL footballer. I wanted to be that Gary Ablett Senior, the Dustin Martin, or Patrick Dangerfield, or anything like that. I wanted to be that guy. And the amazing thing, right, when I was that age, is that I never thought that I couldn't do it. And that was the best part about it, because it was just this relentless passion that doubt never got in my way. Because if it was always like, if he could do it, why can't I do it? And I always had this kind of perception in a way of, I my life was perfect, right? And I wouldn't be on this earth, and if my life wasn't perfect, and things would always go my way and stuff. And I don't know, it might sound a little bit spoiled, but I certainly learned that that's not the case, right? And that, I guess that's also kind of why my passion for like AFL was so strong, because I thought my life was perfect, and I thought I was gonna get what I wanted, and look back, I look back, and I was like, oh god, that's so sick. Like, I'm so happy about that, because I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for that. And I guess that's kind of like the best part in a way. Um, but yeah, I grew up with football, and I made a lot of my mates were footballers and kids that I played sport with growing up, and I learned how hard it is to make it. I scraped the surface of making it, but I guess I always wanted to play in the interleague teams growing up and work really hard to get them, and I did work really hard. I'm not here to sound arrogant or anything like that, but I worked so fucking hard. I lived and breathed that shit, and there's actually no reason why I shouldn't have made it. And I'm still working hard, so um, I'll get there one day. But I guess it's just the main thing is, like, I'm so thankful that football found me, right? And I found football, because I wouldn't be sitting here in front of this camera today telling my story if it wasn't for football, right? And I wouldn't be working every day to become a better person if I hadn't learned the habits that football taught me, right? I know how much work I have to put in to make it. I know how much work I still need to put in to make it. Um, but I guess the main thing out of all of it is, like, it's all just trial and error, and it's tough. It's tough working hard every single day and not always seeing a result. And I understand that it may be a very hard pill to swallow, because you're just not getting what you're looking for yet. But the key word there is yet. You'll get there one day. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be right now. It doesn't mean it's going to be next month. It doesn't mean it's going to be next year. But it'll all pay off one day. And it's so important that you stay persistent and resilient to the process. You got to trust the process. It's the most important part of all of it, right? And the reason why you're going to make it is because you're not going to give up. And that's what I said to my younger self. I always said that. I was always like, you are not going to give up, because this is what you want. I remember standing in kindergarten, standing on that stage when you graduate kindergarten, and it was like, what do you want to be when you're older? And I wanted to be, I said straight away, I didn't even stutter. I was like, I wanted to be an AFL footballer, right? And you know what's funny before that, right? Before I found football when I was about 4. Right before that, I changed my name to Roger, because I love tennis, and my name was Roger Federer from now on, right? I wanted to be a firefighter and all that sort of stuff. And then I found football, and I never even thought about that stuff ever again, like, never. And it's just it's hilarious, because my mum's side of my family is all tennis, and my dad's side is all AFL, of course. But AFL is just everything. AFL is a perfect sport. But I guess growing up, right, like, we learned so many lessons in anything that we do. School, sports, social interactions, all that sort of stuff. You learn so much. And it's actually very hard to take it in. It's very hard to be able to notice your emotions and your feelings and what you're learning from them at the time. But I look back and reflect now, and I'm just like, God, like, if this didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. If this had have happened, I wouldn't be here, right? Like, it flips all the time. And you just think about all the millions of different variables that could have come your way, right? And you could be in a completely different position, right? But whether they're controllable or not, I'm pretty happy where I am today. And you know what's hilarious? I'm making this video saying how good football is and all this sort of stuff, but I haven't made it. I haven't. And you know what? I might not make it, right? But I'm sure as hell giving it a red hot shot. And that's what I love most about it. Because when you build good enough discipline and you haven't strong enough passion, you need the two, discipline and passion, right? You build good discipline easier with passion, right? You got to really want it. You got to absolutely love it. And you know what? It's second nature for me to work really hard every day at what I love. And that's AFL. Yes, there's days where I get up to train and I struggle to get out of bed because I'm tired and I haven't slept enough. Sure. But once I'm there in training, I don't want to not be there. I don't think I've ever said that I don't want to be here right now at football training or at a game. No matter the conditions, no matter how I'm feeling or any of that sort of shit, I want to be there. And that says a lot, right? And I don't notice that in the moment, but I notice that now, and I notice that when I reflect, when I get home, or all that sort of stuff, or like I really look at how far I've come. That's what true passion is, and that brings a smile to my face. Because then I look at plan B options and plan B, you call it, right? What I want to do with my life, and I work a great job. I work for Blues and Greens, an online mentorship program for teenage boys. We give them a positive role model, right? We give them that positive mirror that they always look for, and I love it, right? Because I'm helping these kids that young Ethan like wish he had, right? I wish young Ethan had a 20-year-old mentor. I wish he did, because God knows what would have happened to you, right? And I'm once again, like I'll re-emphasize, I'm so happy where I am right now, but it's just unreal to like realize that I can make the world a better place, because I've always looked at other options besides football, and whilst working out football, I was like, what if this doesn't work out? What do you want to do? And I knew it was always going to be helping people, but I didn't know in what realm. And I quit my job in construction, and Blues and Greens fell in my lap, so I became a mentor straight away, and I didn't look back. Right, I'm still very early days, but God, I love it. God, I love it. I was thinking about it. I said to my girlfriend today, I was like, I want more work, right? And I feel like I do a lot already, but I want more because I just love it. It's so much fun. You just know that if you're moving the needle forward for yourself, but also for other people as well, it's got fulfillment written all over it. And that's what I love about it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. My job's awesome. My life's awesome. I love the fact that, I don't dwell over the fact now that I haven't made it. I live in the moment, and I love the moment I'm in currently, right? And I guarantee you I'll say the same thing in 6 months, no matter if I'm on an AFL list or not. I guarantee you I'll say I love the position I'm in right now, because I know that it'll pay off. I guess I'll tell you a little bit more about my football story. So, when I was 15, I didn't make Sandy Dragons. It was COVID. Didn't really get a grasp on where you were. Went to go try it I turned 16. Went to go try it for Sandy Dragons as a bottom major and didn't make it. And I saw myself as a pretty good footballer. I always played interleague, played in the Div 1 team for interleague every single year and stuff like that. And not making that was just kind of like, whoa, like I feel like I'm working so hard but not getting the reward I'm looking for. It happens. But I guess the main thing after that is that I was like, how do I just break out of water? It lit this fire in my stomach, and it was like Ethan, like you need to make this work. Like you need to put everything into this sport so you get the result that your 6-year-old self was looking for, right? And obviously what he wanted at that time. So when I played senior footy as a 16-year-old turning 17-year-old, threw myself in the deep end. It was like, how am I going to get noticed? Playing with men, right? And I did it. Played with men. I loved it. And I actually preferred it more than junior footy because these men took you under your wing, right? And if you're a young kid and you're doing really well, the world's your oyster, and these boys just absolutely froth it. And it was awesome. I fucking loved it. And I loved the club I was a part of and all that. And that was kind of the best part because I knew I was surrounded by good people. good mentors, to be honest. Halfway through that season of playing senior footy, Senior Dragons said to come train. Went and did one training session halfway through the year. That weekend I was playing. I played my first ever game of NAB League footy, and I was tagging Nick Watson. And I looked at it, I was like, oh God. Like, Watto was a cracking footballer. He's my age and we were bottom ages at the time. He was a cracking footballer at that age. And look at him now, like, no shit. Walked out there and he'd come off a bag of 6 like the week before, or 5 or something like that. And I was just like, whoa, like, okay, let's make the most of this, right? And I did my job. I actually didn't really overthink it much either. Like, went out there, was physical with the kid, and just worked really, really hard on him all day and kept him to basically nothing. And that was kind of like where I opened some irons in a way. A few weeks later, got selected to play Vic Metro. Played Vic Metro, then played the last few games of the season. Got a manager, and then basically after that, went into finals, and I was emergency for every single final for the Sandy Dragons. And that was the year of Will Ashcroft, Harry Sheasel, Cam McKenzie, some cracking footballers. And you know what? I was pissed off. Thought I deserved it, right? But control the controllables, right? What happened happened. Went to the next year and just was my whole life was football. Played the whole next year and just didn't get a lick, right? But I'd seen like before, like what can happen in like literally just like a month's worth of good football. Month's worth of good football. I got caught up to play Sandy Dragons. I played on, turns out to be one of the best small forward in the AFL currently, but then played on him and then got selected to play Vic Metro and then was a part of a NAB League winning, premiership winning team with AFL stars in there. Will Ashcroft, Cam McKenzie, Harry Sheasel. Like, wow. That was a pinch myself moment. Didn't realise it at the time though. So, no, I guess moving forward. Next year I reckon I just got so overwhelmed. Expectations, get drafted. All I wanted to do was get drafted. Start of the year was a bit shit. And then didn't get selected to play Vic Metro. Started playing some good footy. Kind of built my name for myself. Had a few interviews with some clubs. And then draft time came and I just didn't get drafted. And it was a very hard pill to swallow because you work so hard and you build up to that moment. And it's like my name's going to get called out. I knew my name was going to get called out that night, unfortunately, at that point. And that's what made it really tough, a really hard pill to swallow. And then, moving forward, 2 days later, I got a call from the VFL coach at the Giants saying, hey mate, we've got an AFL train-on opportunity, we want you to come. And I talked to the Giants. In my draft year, I was like, fuck yeah, sick, let's do it. Moved up there straight away. I graduated school, it was like 10 days ago. And yeah, 10 days later I was moving to Sydney. And then moved up there and just funded the dream. Like, I just moved, like, lived up there, thrown in the deep end, freshly 18 pretty much, and literally pretty much playing in an AFL club, and it was unreal. Like, just absolutely loved it. But the performance anxiety part of it was just massive. Like, you walked into that place and you just felt like everyone was competing. Everything was a challenge. Everything was just not good enough in a way. You know what happens? See it any different, but I'd relive that year if I could. Played VFL, did the pre-season, played VFL, played 10 games in a row, then got dropped, and then I went and played local footy in Sydney. And I reckon towards that point where I got dropped from the VFL side, I kind of lost love for footy a little bit. I didn't like how competitive everything felt. And I know that's more me than anything. But it felt so competitive. And I just didn't like it. Went back to play local footy and I just fell in love with it all over again. I learned how to switch off from footy. Played golf. Hung out with these boys a lot, the local boys. I just played footy on the weekends and trained. And I loved it. Man, it's so much more fun. And I guess that's what kind of took me into how I play footy now. I moved back home after that year and still take footy very seriously. Like, I'm very anal about a lot of things. But now I don't think about football much. I watch a game the night before a game. I don't really talk about it. But when you're at football, it's football. And that's what makes it fun. I love it when I get to football training and I can just talk about football and just train because I haven't burnt myself out. Moving on, I guess. Look, I've got a few questions because all that story leads up to where I am today. Played VFL for 2 years at Senior Am Zebras, I'm vice captain, seen as a leader, playing some good footy. I asked some of you guys to ask me a question. I got picked two strong questions and I was like, okay, I'll answer these. How do you reset after a poor performance over the weekend? Straight after a poor performance, I give myself a bit of time that afternoon to be angry, sort of thing. But I learnt after a long time of some pretty poor performances that you can't let that feed into your week. So forget about it. Forget about it completely. Don't associate yourself with it. Don't talk about it. Talk about it at training where you can get better, but don't dwell over it. Constantly when it comes to performances and stuff like that, like you do work so hard. The whole week leads up to your performance on the weekend and then that dictates the rest of your week, right? No, it shouldn't. It's 2 hours on a Saturday or Sunday that you give it your all and you're only human. Stuff like that's going to happen. So don't attach yourself to it, right? Detach yourself straight away, sit with it, work on it when you need to work on it, but don't let that feed into how you present yourself and how your emotions are during the week. I think that's really, really important. And you just reset, go again. Genuinely, like you know what works for you the best. So train hard, work on the things that you need to work on, prepare the way you prepare. And yeah, it'll take care of itself. I guess question number 2. Do you like talking about football? Why or why not? Yes, but not all the time. I love a good conversation about football. But I don't really like talking about football away from football. So yeah, if I'm sitting down with coach and I'm talking about football, I love it. It's so much fun. But I don't like it all the time, mainly because I walk down the street in the suburb I live in and I run into someone they know and it's always house football. And I don't really associate myself with that now. And I don't like it and I think it's kind of drained me for a long time about it. So now when I talk about football, I'm ready to talk about football. And it's for a reason to get better. But at the same time, I don't want to go to football train, talk about football, and then get home and then have to talk about football again with my old man. And I know that might sound really harsh to say, but I don't. I've just kind of done it. I'm drained from it now. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow. I don't like it when it's always about could have done this better. Because I know that I do a lot of really good things. And yeah, I don't really want to associate myself with my performance on the weekend, hence why. So I don't want that to cover every single conversation that we always have. That's the main part of it, to be honest. Is that exactly. So I do, but at the right time. I don't like talking about football a lot away from football. Now, I'm going to re-emphasize, right, that the dream is still so alive, and I love AFL, and I will always love AFL. And that's why I made this video on how it shaped me into who I am today, because, it's not perfect. And I've learnt so much along the way that has shaped me into who Ethan Williams is today, and that's why I'm so forever thankful for football. And that's why I can't let it go. And I don't want to let it go because I love it so much. So some of my best relationships I've ever built are through football. And some of the biggest life lessons I've ever met are through football. But I've also had this taste of what fulfillment looks like away from AFL. And it's actually made me come to terms with the fact on actually being able to reflect that this is how football shaped into who I am and how great this journey has been, right? And this journey's still going, it's still going up. And I can't wait. But yeah, I've got a great job now. And I've got a dream to play AFL football, and I hope I play AFL football one day. And I know I can, and I know I can play it. So there's no reason why I can't get there, so I'll keep on working for it. But we're going to come back next week, and we're going to talk about probably more or so what goes on in my head, because there's a lot of chaos in my own head. Go through some of the tough times, and how we react and change and benefit ourselves every single day. So main moral of the story is that we're going to get 1% better every single day. So come back next week. I hope you enjoyed this chat. If you don't follow me already, follow me on Instagram at @byEthanWilliams. I'll put a poll up before I film this for any questions and stuff, and I'll answer a few questions. So I look forward to it, and I hope you all have a lovely night, and take care. And yeah, peace out, brother.